Hillary Clinton has a ton of people furious with her, and for good reason, because she said nobody likes Bernie Sanders. Now, I'm going to give you the context, I'm going to give you the reaction, the analysis, everything. But notice that it's all happening faster and faster now. The attacks on Bernie Sanders, and now I'm going to take a position that might shock you here. I think it might be true that Bernie Sanders is not the most well-liked guy by his colleagues, but I don't think it matters one damn bit. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today. There's an upcoming documentary. It's a series called Hillary. And in the series, Hillary Clinton is asked about Bernie Sanders. And as first reported by The Hollywood Reporter and since widely corroborated, including by Hillary Clinton said, quote, "He was in Congress for years. He had one senator support him. Nobody likes him. Nobody wants to work with him. He got nothing done. He was a career politician. It's all just baloney. And I feel so bad that people got sucked into it." Now, of course, the immediate question before we get into the lack of the irresponsibility of this was, is Hillary saying that if Bernie is the nominee, she would not support Bernie over Donald Trump? Her answer when she was recently asked about it was, quote, "I'm not going to go there yet. We're still in a very vigorous primary season. I will say, however, that it's not only him. It's the culture around him. It's his leadership team. It's his prominent supporters. It's his online Bernie bros and their relentless attacks on lots of his competitors, particularly the women." This is how we lose. Okay? There's a whole bunch of analyses that we could do. This is how we lose once again. This is the top level analysis. This is the type of division that I'm talking about. This applies to Hillary doing it to Bernie. This applies to people saying, I wouldn't vote Biden no matter what. To people attacking Warren and saying if it's Warren over Bernie, I don't want Warren because she voted in favor of more funding for the military. It applies to all of it. OK, this is how we lose. And we can talk about the specifics of what being said here. And here's my take. I think it's probably true that Bernie is not the most well-liked guy within the House and Senate. I've spoken to people who have traveled with Bernie quite a bit in a formal role. And they've said he's difficult when it comes to his relationships with the House and Senate. He's not that well liked. Who cares? OK, what matters are two things. What are Bernie's policies? Who cares if Joe Manchin doesn't like Bernie, if Bernie is going to fix health care? OK, but I don't care. Do you care? Why does Hillary care? What matters is what Hillary Clinton is doing going to help remove Donald Trump or not? It's not. It's going to help reelect Donald Trump. And number two, Bernie's policy. What would he do for people without health care? The same thing for Elizabeth Warren or for Joe Biden or whatever. Are they better than Donald Trump? The answer is yes. Are we taking actions that will make it more likely that Donald Trump gets reelected? If the answer is yes, don't do it. OK, that's the test. Bernie, by the way, all but admits this about himself. What I mean is, if you watch the video, so the New York Times recently endorsed Amy Klobuchar and Elizabeth Warren. And they filmed a bunch of interviews where they met with the candidates. And when they put out a video from their conversation with Bernie Sanders, they asked Bernie about his weaknesses. And Bernie says, I'm not the guy, this is my paraphrasing, I'm not the guy who hobnobs. I'm not the guy who, I think Bernie said, who's going to call you on your birthday. He's not socially a pleasure to be around, is what Bernie Sanders is saying. And this is very similar to what Hillary Clinton is saying. He was not well liked by people in the House and Senate. It's probably true, but it's irrelevant and it's embarrassing for Hillary Clinton to be pulling it out now and to be playing coy about whether she'd support Bernie if he's the nominee. It's not too soon to say I'd support Bernie if he's the nominee. The first votes are going to be cast in a few days. So what are we? It's the 22nd. The first votes will be cast in, a couple weeks or whatever. It's very easy to say, I will support the eventual Democratic nominee. The fact that Hillary Clinton didn't say that is pathetic. So when I say I still believe the most likely scenario is a Biden nomination and a loss to Trump in November, this type of garbage will guarantee it, right? Ignorant Trumpists who love the guy is part of it. There are many parts of it. But this is what I committed not to participate in when we first covered the primary and we first covered the candidates that were running. And also, the headlines about what Hillary said are totally misleading and out of context. The headlines say, Hillary says nobody likes Bernie. It suggests she's talking about people, like just random people. She's talking about senators and legislators. She may be right, she may be wrong. From what I've heard, she's probably right, but it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant to whether Bernie has the right ideas for making the country better. It's irrelevant to whether Bernie is better than Trump. And the fact that Hillary Clinton is adding idiocy to idiocy, saying nobody likes Bernie, okay, even if it's true, it's probably a misstep strategically. But then when she's asked, but will you vote for him? Will you support him if he's the nominee? And she says it's too early to talk about that. This is how we guarantee that Donald Trump is reelected in November. I'm not going to participate in it, okay? I'm a progressive. I'm going to support a progressive. I'm going to support the eventual Democratic nominee with the goal of removing Trump and starting to wake up from the nightmare that has been the first and hopefully only term of President Donald Trump. Let me know what you think. We'll be talking about this on our Instagram page. Follow the David Pakman Show on Instagram at David Pakman Show. While you're there, follow me at david.pakman as well. I know that the David Pakman Show audience is full of curious and creative people who love learning new things and bettering themselves. And that's why I'm so excited to tell you about one of our sponsors, Skillshare, the vibrant online learning community that offers thousands of classes on almost any topic you can imagine, and you'll get full access to the entire library of classes for 2 entire months free when you go to davidpakman.com/skill. All of the classes are taught by experts in their fields. They've got classes on drawing, painting, photography, video editing, web design, bookkeeping, marketing, personal productivity. Doesn't even scratch the surface. I recently took a class about photography. If anybody follows me on Instagram, you know that my photography skills leave much to be desired. And it was great. I got so much out of it. And hopefully you will see the fruits of me taking that class reflected in my Instagram pictures sooner than later. They have classes for every skill level, whether you're wanting to get better at something you already have experience with, you want to learn something totally new to you. You set your own pace. Classes are usually less than an hour long. They're divided up into bite-sized segments so you can easily fit them into your schedule. Make 2020 a year where you explore new skills, deepen existing passions, get lost in creativity. Skillshare really makes it easier than ever. Skillshare memberships are less than $10 a month, and that gives you access to the thousands of classes they offer. But everybody in the David Pakman Show audience gets a Skillshare membership totally free for 2 whole months. Just go to davidpakman.com/skill. That's davidpakman.com/SKILL.